transform your life in 15 minutes. My name is McAdams. I'm an author, I'm an accounting professor, and I'm also a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and also fitness. I help people reach their goals. And I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this broadcast, this live broadcast, where we are transforming our lives in 15 minutes. And how we're doing that is we are doing 3 5-minute exercises. One is geared for the mind, one is geared for the body, and one is geared for the soul. So for the mind, we are going to be reading out of my book. And this is a book that I wrote 3 years ago, and it's entitled Your Body, the Perfect House: How to Find Your True Purpose and Live a Balanced Life. And the book is a guide that's going to help you address all the 5 areas in your life: your financial, your physical, your emotional, your spiritual, and of course your relationships. And I use that as an analogy with the house, with the different rooms in the house. Like you have your living room, your kitchen, your office, your bathrooms, and your bedrooms. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. For the body portion, we're going to be doing a 5-minute yoga exercise, and for the soul portion, we're going to be doing a 5-minute guided meditation. So if this is your first time stumbling upon me, I welcome you. And for this section, we are actually in the kitchen. So remember, I talked about it being the guide that's going to help you with the different areas in your life. So we are in the kitchen. We're getting physical in the kitchen. And I mentioned yesterday that 80% of what I'm talking about in the kitchen, even though the title is called Get Physical in the Kitchen, 80% of it is going to be on talking about your nutrition and making sure that you get your nutrition together. Because as it relates to your health, I want you to understand this, particularly if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, listen to this. If you're trying to lose weight, you really should focus on your diet and nutrition. That's where you're going to see the most changes. In other words, let's put it this way. If you continue, let's say that you have you know how you eat. Let's say that you have pretty much unhealthy eating lifestyle. If you continue to eat unhealthy and all you did was add exercise, will you be able to lose some weight? A little. You will be able to, because you're doing something different. But if you continue to eat, or if you actually eat more, then you actually won't see the long-term effects on that, right? But put it to you this way. Let's say that you eat unhealthy and all you did was just change the way you eat. You didn't even add any exercise, but all you did was just change the way you eat. You will actually see a dramatic decrease in the amount of weight that you lose faster than that first example. And then number 3 is, if you then change the way you eat, plus you add exercise, and then of course do all the other things like drink your water, reduce your stress, and get enough sleep, then you'll see tremendous results and faster and longer life-sustaining results as well. Okay, so the bottom line is 80% of your whole health, as it relates to weight loss, 80% of it is for your nutrition. The other 20% is the exercise and the reducing the stress and the sleeping and all the other stuff. Okay, but 80% of it is based upon your diet and nutrition, which is why I'm really stressing this, not only in my book, but I stress that in life as well, as a coach, helping people to lose weight. All right, so in the kitchen today, we're going to be talking about salt. So we've already talked about things like processed foods and calories and water. And if you missed those episodes, I want you to know that all of these episodes are taped and recorded, and you can find them on my YouTube channel. All you have to do is just search for me, McAdams, and you'll find all the recordings on my YouTube. I actually started doing this way back in April, but as far as my book is concerned, I started my book in June. Okay, so every month I'll be doing a different mind series of it. All right, so with salt, we're going to be talking about what is salt. We're going to be talking about why salt is important to your body. We're going to talk about the effects of having too much or too little salt. And we're going to also talk about how much salt you should eat. And then also what food contains salt, okay? And mainly the surprising foods. Like we know salt is in a lot of the foods, but the surprising foods that contain salt, okay? And let me grab some water. All right. So first off, we're going to talk about, so what is salt? Well, salt is a natural mineral found on this earth, right? And it comes in different forms, like you have rock salt, table salt, sea salt, salt flakes. It comes in different forms, and it also has many uses. In everything from seasoning our food all the way to healing our wounds. Okay, so it has many uses. Now, why is salt important to the human body? Well, salt is important because, one, it helps to regulate the water and the fluids that are in our bodies. Okay, and then also it actually helps the heart be able to pump the blood at a good pressure. Okay, so that at a good rate, which is going to lead to a good pressure. Okay, so it helps the heart pump the blood. And then another thing is it also helps our muscles and our nerves to function, correctly. And then that was 3, right? The fourth one is going to be as a disinfectant. So it kills germs. So you know how if you ever had like a sore throat, am I hitting my mic? If you ever had a sore throat and then the doctor recommends that you gargle with some salt water, well, that's the salt actually acting as a disinfectant, is killing the germs, that's soothing your throat. And then we also know that salt can be used on our body to help heal some sores and some wounds. Okay, so that's why salt is important to your body. Now, what happens if you have too much salt? Well, too much salt is basically going to make the heart work faster and harder to get rid of the excess salt that we don't need. And that's also going to make the body work harder to help regulate the water and the fluids. And over time, that could lead to high blood pressure. Okay. And eventually it could lead to death as well. Okay. So too much salt is not good. Now, what happens if there's too little salt? Well, if you have too much or too little salt, there's a condition called hypernatremia. And basically what that can do is that can cause headaches. It can cause nausea. It can cause seizures, muscle cramps, and also death. Okay. Now, speaking of muscle cramps, and this was about 2 years ago. I'm a runner, and I attended. I was racing in one of the Spartan Series races. Now, if you don't know anything about the Spartan Series races, these are not just races. These are it's like a boot camp of the races. They have obstacles and everything, and they have different ones. But the one that I was running was in September, so it was really extremely hot, and I was running the Spartan Beast. Now, the Spartan Beast is over 13 miles and over 30 obstacles. So the obstacles, put it this way, to even get to the starting point, this line where it says start, go, you have to climb over a wall. Okay, so that's like your first obstacle, is just to get to the starting point. But there's all kinds of obstacles where, in the mud, climbing underneath the barbed wire and all of that, right? Now, keep in mind, this is September, and I live in Southern California. This race was actually being held in Temecula. Temecula is east, and when you go inward in California, it gets extremely hot. I'm talking about the temperatures were well in the hundreds, like over 100, really. It really was over 100. It was really, really hot. And the obstacles, they were on hills. Matter of fact, it wasn't hills. These were mountains. These weren't even hills. These were mountains that we were, running over and doing climbing and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's about 3/4 of the way through the race. All of a sudden, I had the worst cramp I've ever felt in my life. Like, seriously, so much that not only did it brought me to tears, I literally had to just stop in the middle of the course. I'm like right in the middle of the racing course. I fell down. I seriously could not move. Now, I lift weights, so I'm not talking about those little pains that you get from lifting weight, like in that little soreness. I like those, okay? No, this was debilitating, like seriously. So a couple of guys had to pick me up and kind of carry me off the course, and they kind of put me in the shaded area by the tree, because I think we were we were in the mountains, and we were going by this little curve or something, and I literally just had to stop. I couldn't move. And when I tell you, if you've ever seen that movie Aliens, I am not lying. I'm not exaggerating. I'm being literal right now. I looked down at my legs, and my muscles were making these movements outside. Like, I can actually see my skin. The muscles were distorted. It was moving. It was like, I had to stop looking, because it was just it was seriously grossing me out. Because I was like, what the heck is happening? Am I turning to an alien? But it was because I depleted my salt reserves in my body, and that's what can happen. Okay, so let me tell you, that was the worst thing. And by the way, in case you're wondering, what happened was a couple of the racers, because everyone's so friendly on that race. It's one of the greatest series as races. People are just so friendly and helpful. And I want you to know that you don't have to be totally in shape to do this. There's all types of people that are on this course, and everyone is so encouraging. Okay, so hopefully I'm not scaring you with all these obstacles that we're doing. But a couple of racers came by, and they gave me some mustard packets, and so I was inhaling the mustard, because obviously mustard has salt, and I had to replace the electrolytes, and that's one of the fastest way to do this, via the mustard, the salt in the mustard. So I was able to replace those electrolytes, And then eventually the paramedics came and I decided, you know me, I decided to finish the race. It wasn't pretty, but I wanted to finish the race. Like I said, it was only like a quarter of I only had a quarter of the race left to go. So I did finish the race, but a lot of people didn't, you know, that particular day, because it was so extremely hot. And if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people didn't finish that race. As a matter of fact, they ended up closing out the race because it was just too hot. Too many people were falling out. Well, that's the effect of having too little salt in your body. And on the extreme side, yesterday I mentioned about water and about drinking too much water. And I mentioned the two cases. One was here in Southern California where a 28-year-old entered into a contest. I think a P for a we or something contest that they had on the radio, and she drank 2 gallons of water and then she died. And I also mentioned another case in Atlanta where a 17-year-old boy was attending a football practice and he drank 2 gallons of water and 2 gallons of Gatorade, and he also ended up dying. Well, that was because water, you know, remember, salt is essential to your body. So water can actually flush out the salt that's in your body and eventually cause the coma to the death. Okay, so too little water is not good. Too much is not good. Both of them can eventually result into death. Okay, so let's talk about how much salt that you should have then. Now, for the adult, you want to have no more than 2,300 milligrams of salt. Okay, as an adult, no more than 2,300 milligrams. Now, that's a little over a half of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, a little over half. But listen to this. If you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes or any other chronic disease, if you're over the age of 51, if you're African American, yes, black people, I'm talking to you. If you're African American or children, all children, the daily recommendation is no more than 1,500. Okay, so let me go over those again. If you have hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, or other chronic diseases, if you're over the age of 51, anyone over the age of 51, and if you're African American, and all children, the maximum daily recommendation is 1,500 milligrams of salt per day. Okay, per day. And by the way, if you're looking at the food labels, you know, because a lot of times that you get all this, right? If you're looking at the food labels, stay away from the foods that have, you know, when it says the serving size or the total meal, the per meal serving should be no more than 500 milligrams total. And per serving size should be no more than 140 milligrams, right? Now, the average person takes in 3,500 milligrams of sodium a day. 3,500. That's well over the recommendation, right? Well over the recommendation. Well, why is that? Well, because pretty much we eat, and the food that we eat has salt in it. And if it doesn't have enough salt, depending on what our taste buds are, we actually add more salt to it. But I guarantee you, if you didn't even add, like, listen to this. If you didn't add any salt, let's say you threw out all the table salt, all the Himalayan salt, sea salt, whatever salt you have in your cabinet, say you threw it all out and you just still ate regularly, like you just ate the food, I guarantee you, chances are you still will be over the average because of the foods that contain the salt. Now, we know about the processed foods, right? We know about the frozen foods. We know about those processed snacks, those lunch meats. We know about the cheeses. All of those we know have the highest sodium, right? And the canned soup. Oh my gosh, canned soup is probably one of the worst. It just has an extreme amount of salt in them. Okay, we know those. But what about the things that we don't think about, like the milk products, the bread mixes, eating out at restaurants? Yes, a lot of the restaurants actually have food, you know, prepackaged food sent in. Well, salt is a natural preservative, right? And so that's why the food that's in the restaurant generally has a lot of salt in it. And this is how the labeling system, you know, tricks you, or, you know, I should say, well, yeah, it tricks you, deceives you, because they'll tell you how much calories are on the, you know, in the meals, right? Now they are doing that. A lot of restaurants are, you know, revealing the calorie count. But what about the sodium? A lot of times it may be low in calories, but it's high in sodium. Okay, so restaurants, eating out is not necessarily good for you, even if you're eating those healthy restaurants, because of the amount of sodium that the restaurants have. Also, pasta sauces. Now, I'm talking about like the ragus, like obviously the ones that you buy, not the ones that you make out of the real tomatoes, right? For all my Italian friends out there, you make the really good pasta sauce if you make it by hand. I'm talking about those prepackaged ones. Did you know that a lot of those contain up to 900 milligrams per half a cup? Just a half a cup. 900 milligrams. And I just have a cup. You're usually pouring the whole bottle or the whole jar and then shaking up the water and pouring some more in there, right? And then even like cottage cheese. Cottage cheese has like, some of it has over 400 milligrams of salt per half a cup. Okay, so these are things we don't think about. What else? Let me think, what else? We have, of course, the ketchup. Now the ketchup is like 190 milligrams per tablespoon. And I mentioned the mustard because remember when I did that Spartan race, I was like inhaling mustard. By the way, anytime I'm doing races now, you best believe not only am I properly hydrated with water, which I was at that race, I'm making sure I'm getting my electrolytes as well. In addition to that, I am carrying my mustard packets. Like you can ask my friend Val, because she's like my Spartan buddy. We're like, Val, we got to have our mustard. We got to go get our mustard packets and make sure we have our mustard. That's not ever happened again. That was the worst. I'm not lying. I was an alien. My muscles were just, makes my skin crawl just thinking about that. All right. So back to the foods, the surprising foods. So of course the mustard has the high content. So in other words, just make sure that you're just really aware of the sodium intake that you're putting into your body. It is essential, meaning our cells contain sodium and we do need it, as I mentioned before, the different functions that they have, like regulating the fluids and the water in your body, and also helping the heart rate pump the blood and your muscles. So we do need it, but you don't want to have too little, you don't want to have too much. And by the way, for those of you out there, this is like a little bonus. There's other ways to season your food besides salt, right? And I don't consider myself a per se cook. Those that know me know it's like, okay, wait, you're giving cooking advice? Yeah, I'm giving cooking advice. I do cook. I mean, geez, I grew up with a family. Everyone in my family besides me cooks. I'm serious. My mom cooks really well. My brother, even my brother, he cooks. My sisters, like everyone cooks. I cook as well, guys. I grew up in a family with cooks, so I can cook. I just choose not to. Okay. But anyway, there's other ways to season the food. And by the way, yes, I did elicit advice on how to do this. But you can use like rosemary, you can use sage, you can use thyme, you can use oregano, and of course, one of my favorites is black pepper. Okay, so there's different ways to season your food. Use the spices and the herbs and the natural herbs are actually better, right? Use the herbs to season your food besides sodium. Okay, well, I hope this little talk was helpful to you. You want to, again, make sure that you reduce the sodium. And just to kind of recap what we've been talking about so far in the kitchen, and I don't have my thing, but just kind of from my recollection, make sure, again, one, that you understand that when it comes to your nutrition, it should be more of a lifestyle change and not a diet. A diet is going to be something that you're doing for temporary, okay? And there's diets have its place in life because there may be an event that comes up and you want to do drastic measures for a temporary fix, okay? A temporary solution. But understand, diets are generally temporary, okay? But a lifestyle change is the way to go for long-lasting effects. You also want to stay away from those processed foods. And I just already mentioned, guys, like seriously, I mentioned how the processed foods have a high sugar count, has high sodium count, and it's just processing chemicals, right? And that's what you're putting in your body. Your body is, think of your body. I'm always giving these analogies with your body. I just love it, right? Your body is like a well-tuned, machinery, like a car, right? And think about it. You have three different grades of gas. You have the low cheapy gas. You have the middle grade, and of course you have the premium. Well, that's the same thing with your food. You have the low cheapy food, like the processed foods. You have the middle foods, and then you have the premium foods. Well, obviously, if you're driving the premium cars, which I'm sorry, your body is a premium car. There is no ifs, ands, or but about that. Your body is premium. But if you're feeding your premium with the low foods, it's not going to function as well. Okay, so think in terms of at least the middle grade. Obviously you're working your way to the premium foods that you're eating, the fresh fruits and vegetables, and there's different ways to eat. And I'm not trying to tell you how to eat, but however you decide that's best for your body, I want you to start treating your body as a premium machinery. And so try to get the best foods for your money. And I know what you're saying, because I can kind of hear it out there. How it's expensive to eat healthy. And it may seem that way, particularly like if you go to McDonald's and all these fast food restaurants, and they have these little dollar menus. But guess what? You can also go to the grocery store and you can buy a baked potato and some, and some vegetables for that same dollar and feed your family. And put it this way, that dollar that you spend, or that cheap money that you're spending on your food, guess what's going to happen in the long haul? You're going to pay higher on the other end when as it relates to your medical bills. Okay, because if you keep feeding your food those cheapy foods, the processed foods, you're overweight, and then we have all these diseases and conditions that I've been talking about. All right, that's high health costs. Whereas if you just take the time and stop thinking about the mentality of it's too expensive to eat healthy, because it really isn't. As a matter of fact, it's cheaper on the long haul, because as you treat your body as a premium machine, it's going to be optimal. It's gonna work optimally, right? It's gonna be have the optimum health. Can't even talk right. Hi, Barbara. Hi, good to see you. And then Babu, I see you as well. And guys, by the way, I just realized, I guess it must be something with my settings, because I don't see comments all the time as they come up. Every once in a while, I may see people, but for the most part, I don't see comments. So if you are saying something to me and I don't respond, it's not that I'm being rude. It's, I don't really see them. I got to look at my settings. I just thought it dawned on me because something just popped on my phone and it didn't pop on my my iPad. But anyway, so hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, make sure that you reduce the sugar. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. That's what I talked about yesterday. And then today we talked about the sodium. So these are things that you want to make sure that you're aware of as it relates to your health. Okay. And, with all that talking, I just forgot about what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. I'll think about it. It'll come back to me. It was a good one, too. I just thought about it just before I went live. Book, by the way. And remember, with my book, what I do is I'm like giving you like a brief overview. Like I'm not telling you the details, obviously, what will be the purpose of you buying the book, or getting the book, I should say. Oh, sorry. Okay. It is so funny, Barbara. I thought about you this morning, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the yoga portion, and then also, sorry, I'm in the dark. I'm just trying to turn out this light. We're going to move on to the yoga portion, and then immediately following that, we're going to go to the meditation. Okay, so remember, mind, body, soul. Now I'm going back to the analogy of your body being a house. 2/3 of inside, so you can actually affect the outside. Oh, my life, it's like, what's that noise I hear? You can actually affect the outside, right, of your house and get your body looking nice and beautiful. But if you don't have your inside squared away, like in other words, your inside is a disaster area. Sorry, my light just went off. Why is it doing that? Hold on. Okay, hopefully it'll stay. If your house is a disaster area, then guess what? You're not going to be happy. So if you're wondering how you see all these people that seemingly be in shape or have it going on, they seem to have the riches, the fame, but all of a sudden they're miserable, it's because they're inside. Inside they haven't worked on themselves. Okay, and it's very important to do that. And this is something like when you're in your 20s and even your 30s, a lot of us don't even realize that, then, and sometimes around like late 30s. And for some people, they do realize it sooner versus later, right? Everyone's different. But particularly as you get older and you get more wiser, you start to see, the importance of the whole mind-body connection. And I mentioned yesterday that now they're now even calling them not even separate. They're not saying there's a mind and there's a body. They're saying that they're actually one, that your body is the mind. So they're now calling it the mind-body, like not just mind or body, it's the mind-body. So there is a connection. So even in this Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes, if you notice, 2/3 we're working on that mind-body, the mind-soul connection, the internal part of it, okay? So as we go through this yoga, I want you to understand that the yoga routine, the yoga postures that we're getting into, it all has a connection internally with your mind and your body. So I really want you to focus on using your breath and breathing and not just getting into a particular position or pose just because I'm saying that's the next pose that come into it. I want you to really think of how your body is feeling as you're getting into those poses, okay? So use your breath. And again, what's going to happen is going to be little tight areas in your body, your joints, and tension and negativity is carried on the inside. And so I want you to use your breath to flush those out. So as you're breathing, let's say we're holding a particular pose. I'm trying to think one that we're doing today. Maybe the low lunge could be challenging for you. Maybe even the resting position, the downward facing dog, is challenging to you. Where is it challenging your body? Where is the tension? Then just direct your breath and just concentrate on just relaxing that part of your body, okay? So with that being said, we're going to start off in child's pose. So your feet are together, your knees are on the outside of the mat if you're using a mat. As you're in an upright position, you're just going to take a nice deep Ujjayi breath. And then as you exhale, would you slowly walk your hands out overhead. We're going to do an extended arm, child's pose position. The crown of your head is facing forward, which means your forehead is down. And we're going to be there for 3 deep Ujjayi breaths. And I always like to remind you that yoga, both yoga and meditation, is a practice. So please practice with me. Don't just watch the screen. It gets kind of boring if you're just watching the screen. It can, right? Not necessarily. I'm not boring, am I? I don't think I am. Sometimes I can be. Yeah, I do talk to myself. Okay, so let's go on to the yoga. Again, go ahead and get into child's pose. Assume the position, and then immediately after the child's pose, I'm going to lead you through a 5-minute guided meditation. And remember, the purpose of the meditation that I'm doing is to clear your mind. Okay, it's just really to get rid of those thoughts that are bombarding you. And trust me, I know I have them as well. Average person has over 70,000 thoughts throughout the day in your body, in your mind. Okay, just going on, just all kinds of things, like crazy things sometimes, right? Well, you have to learn how to control it. Remember, this is all about transformation. In order to affect change, you have to do the hard work. And it is going to be hard, particularly as it relates to meditating, right? And as you're beginning, because those thoughts are going to bombard you. That's why I'm giving you something to focus on, which is your breath. Nice, deep Ujjayi breaths. In case you don't know about Ujjayi breathing, I have a separate video, but just to recap, so where your abdominals expand and your chest rises as the diaphragm makes its way up. On the inhale, you're going through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, then it's the opposite, right? Your chest is going to fall, your abs are going to go in. That's the diaphragmatic breathing. And just really focus on that breath. And by the way, it starts with yoga. We're starting that diaphragmatic breathing in yoga, and then we just continue to have you focus on it when it comes to the meditation, okay? So practice with me. Child's pose. Three deep Ujjayi breaths. On the next inhalation, I want you to come up on your fingertips. I want you just to feel the extension, the elongation from your fingertips all the way to the upper back, down through the tailbone. Again, nice deep Ujjayi breaths. Press those shoulder blades away from your ears, and the armpits are pressed down toward the mat. Just feel the elongation in the muscles in the arms and the upper back. All right, go ahead and release the palms down. Bring your palms so that they're directly underneath your shoulders, and then bring your knees in so that they're directly underneath your hips as you take a nice deep Ujjayi breath. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your chin down to your chest, round through the spine, and tuck the pelvic under as we go into the cat position. As you inhale, your head and chest comes forward, forehead goes all the way up toward the sky, arch your back, tailbone sticks out toward the back of the room. And then as you exhale, go back to the cat, round through the spine, tuck the pelvic under, release those shoulder blades away from your ears. Continue doing this for a couple more rotations. Going through again, the cat-cow. Just kind of take your time and really massage your spine. Just really stretching those muscles. Should feel really good. It's one of my favorite things to do first thing in the morning. All right, one more deep breath in. This time as you exhale, just return back to tabletop with a neutral spine. Now go ahead and curl your toes under, and let's take it to downward facing dog. Now again, if this is too much strain and stress for you, feel free to make modifications. One of them can be that you walk your feet out toward the edges of the mat and come into a wide stance, downward facing dog. Another one is you can actually stay into tabletop, or if you're really tired, you can actually just hold and stay into child's pose. Now go ahead and pedal your legs. Again, we're just feeling the muscles, just warming them up. Again, downward facing dog is a resting position. So whenever we're in this position, believe it or not, this is a resting pose. Your chest is pressed toward your thighs and your knees. Your head is in alignment with your bicep. Fingers and toes are spread out nice and wide. If you're not pedaling your legs, you're lifting your kneecaps to engage those quadriceps. All right, on your next inhalation, I want you to bring that left foot forward toward the fingertips. Take that right knee, place it down toward the mat, uncurl the toes, lift up your chest, your torso, and take the arms extended overhead into the low lunge. Again, nice deep ujjayi breaths. Your head is up toward the sky. You're pressing your hip flexors down and forward, down toward the mat and forward. If this is too much strain and stress on your neck, feel free to look forward and then bring your hands together in the prayer position at the heart center. Okay, this is a modification right here. Otherwise, you're here. Now go ahead and release those palms back down to the mat, curl the toe under, and let's take it back to downward facing dog. Continue pedaling your legs. Again, just do what feels comfortable to you. You know, I like to come up on the top of my toes, and then roll down through the balls of the feet all the way down to your heels. Remember, just use your breath. Nice deep ujjayi breaths. On your next inhalation, you're going to bring that right foot forward toward the fingertips. Release the left knee down, uncurl the toe, and take it back up to the low lunge on the opposite side. Again, as you're breathing, find the tension that's located in your body. What does it feel like? Direct your breath toward those areas, those tight areas. Continue breathing. All right, go ahead and release the palms down. Curl the toes under and take that right foot back to downward facing dog. I'm going to kind of sway my body side to side. Then I'm going to come up on my fingertips and I'm going to walk my hands all the way back to my feet. Forward fold here. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, guide the body forward. Inchworm out to the plank. Release your hips down. Uncurl your toes. Relax your shoulders to upward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Walk your hands back to your feet. Inhale, take it all the way up. This time with the arch back. Dive the body forward. This is on the exhale. Inchworm. Upward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Walk it back. Inhale, take it all the way up. Arch back. Dive the body forward. Inchworm out to the plank. Release your hips, uncurl your toes, relax the shoulders. Curl the toes under. Take it back. Inhale. Exhale. Inchworm out to the plank. Release your hips, uncurl your toes, relax the shoulders down. Curl it back. Exhale. Just go back if it feels comfortable to you. As you get a little bit more flexibility, you'll be able to do a little bit more in that back extension. Inhale up. And dive the body forward. Take it to the plank. Release the hips. Uncurl the toes. Rotate the shoulders down the back. And then let's return to downward facing dog. This is as you exhale. As you inhale, bring the body to plank. As you exhale, take it to downward facing dog. Inhale, you go to plank. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Again, inhale. And exhale. Let's do a couple more times. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And hold. Now bring that left foot toward your left pinky. Press the hips down. And then rotate and switch. Now at this time, if you want your heart rate to get a little higher, you can actually jump your lunge. You know, my excuse on this one is I have on these yoga socks. One day I'm going to actually take these yoga socks off before I change the routine, which is coming up soon. I'll take the yoga socks off and I'll show you the jump lunge that I'm referring to. Because it doesn't work with these yoga socks on. All right, one more. Remember, just press it down. All right, return back to downward facing dog. Now, keeping your palms down onto the mat, walk your feet in toward your palms. If you need to, bend your knees so that your palms stay flat. So as close as you can, and then slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time, making sure that your head is the last to rise. Rotate those shoulders back. Now take a nice deep breath, inhaling. As you exhale, dive the body forward. Place your palms flat. Walk your feet out toward the edges of the mat, and your feet are at an angle. And then as you exhale, release your hips. Release the tailbone down toward the mat. Bring the palms together at the heart center, and you're using your elbows to push out on those inner thighs. Again, you're opening up the hip joints and hip flexors. We spend a lot of our days in a seated position, which lengthens or shortens those muscles. So you need to stretch them out, and this is one of my favorite stretches to do. Bow your head down. All right, go ahead and release your palms down toward the mat. Replace your palms behind you as you transition your body weight to a nice, comfortable seated position, cross-legged, facing to the front. Now make sure your fingertips are down toward the mat. Take a nice deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. Again, deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. One more time, nice deep breath, inhaling. This time we're going to greet the palms together at the very top. Exhale now through the center, add your bow, and namaste. Okay. Take nice deep breaths. We're moving on to our meditation. Take a nice deep breath as you inhale. Just kind of be aware where you are, the positive energy. And as you exhale, close your eyes and just drop your chin down toward your chest. As you inhale, your head comes up, forehead goes up toward the sky. And as you exhale, just release. Relax, drop your chin down toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, take the forehead up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your chin down toward your chest. Again, take a nice deep breath as you inhale, lift your head up toward the sky. And this time as you exhale, release your head forward. Natural position, keep your eyes closed. And continue a nice deep Ujjayi breath. And I just kind of want you to notice the state of your body and what does it feel like. This time, don't make any judgment. Just kind of notice any tight areas in your body, any negativity. Continue breathing. Just inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Let's do a progressive relaxation. Let's go ahead and just squeeze and wiggle your toes. So just wiggle them for now. Just get aware of them. See what they feel like. Continue breathing. Now on your next inhalation, I want you to squeeze those toes together really, really tight. Like just ball your feet up as tight as you can go and hold it. And as you exhale, go ahead and release. Release and wiggle your toes. Now making your way up to the thighs. As you take a nice deep breath, I want you to squeeze those thigh muscles. Pretend like you're like squeezing them together and hold it. Just hold it really, really tight. And then exhale and release. Making our way up to their gluteals. I want you to, on your next inhale, I want you to squeeze your butt cheeks really, really tight. Like just focus on bringing those sits bones in together. Squeeze and hold. And as you exhale, release, relax. Let all the tension just melt away down through your legs, all the way out to your feet. Working our way up to our torso. As you inhale, I want you to squeeze your abs in all the way in toward your spine. Like squeeze and hold it really, really tight. And as you exhale, go ahead and release it. Now I want you to ball your hands together into a fist and squeeze those muscles really, really tight and bring your fist in forward toward your shoulders. Squeeze and hold it, biceps, upper part of your chest, really, really tight, and then release. Release the fingertips, lengthen out the arms. Now just notice the state of your body. Take a nice deep Ujjayi breath, inhaling through your nose, and exhaling through your mouth. Let's work our way up to the shoulders. So on the next inhalation, I want you to bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Just squeeze them really, really tight. Some of you it's not too far. Just hold it, and then release. Let all the stresses that you're carrying just release and melt down the shoulders. And notice how it just lengthens out your neck. Let's sit here for a moment. Take a nice deep Ujjayi breaths. Feels good to release all the tension and stress out of your body. Okay, go ahead and squeeze your eyes tight, really, really bad, really tight. Just hold it, squinch your nose, squinch your mouth, just squeeze it and hold it. Clench your teeth, really, really tight, hold it. And release. doesn't it feel good just to release the tension? Again, continue breathing. Go ahead and smile to yourself. As you inhale, just think of inhaling the positive energy that's around you. And as you exhale, you're relaxing. Just say to yourself, relax. Just kind of stay with that just for a moment. Okay, go ahead and give me a nice deep breath. Inhaling through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Again, nice deep breath. Inhaling through your nose. And exhaling through your mouth. One more time, nice deep ujjayi breath. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes as you release, relax, return, refreshed, and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. I want to thank you for taking the time to meditate with me, and also thank you for watching this live broadcast of Transform Your Life in 15 minutes. Today's word is to cherish. I want you just to enjoy and cherish every single moment. Just hug your family a little tighter. If you have children, hug them. If you have co-workers, just really appreciate life. Just really cherish the moments today. All right, I will see you again tomorrow. And again, have a great day.